Hello, HSM, coming at you not live, but from my apartment with Sleeping Pup. I hope you guys are having a good week, and today we are talking about the You Are statement. So we're still in our Who Are You, Who Am I series, and we are talking about the You Are statement Jesus makes in John 15. And it got me thinking this week. And I counted, there are 236 days until Christmas. And I don't always, actually I rarely count down to Christmas. I'm usually a huge stickler about Thanksgiving coming first and being celebrated. But, you know, being alone right now in the midst of this pandemic has me reflecting on the Christmas season and being around my family and friends and all of the traditions and memories that go along with it. My family doesn't do a lot of traditions, but I think my favorite is our Christmas tree. My mom usually gets me and my brother an ornament every year, and so our tree is full of ornaments from years past. There are some like handmade reindeer that we made when we were little bitty that are missing eyes and ears, and I keep begging my mom to throw away, but she won't because they're sentimental. And we put our tree up before Christmas every year, and it goes in the front of our house, you know, with all the lights in the middle of the windows, and we, you know, open the blinds and turn the lights on and display it really prominently for everybody to see. And it just looks really full of life, and it makes our house feel really full of life. But the thing is, it's not. Christmas trees are dead. They're not full of life. You either have a fake tree or you have a tree that has been disconnected from its roots, its source of life. I'm wondering if sometimes we have faith that looks like a Christmas tree, that looks really good and looks really full of life, but is actually disconnected from our source of life, which is God. John 15 addresses this very thing. It says, Jesus says, "I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit, so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. Yes, I am the vine, and you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit, for apart from me, you can do nothing." Fruit trees are very different from Christmas trees. A fruit tree has a low profile, is usually in the backyard and not on display in the front of the house. They're consistent and they're steady in their production, and they sometimes give you fruit when you don't want it. I have a family friend who, whenever I would go over to her house, she would complain to me that they had a pear tree in the backyard, and the pear tree would drop pears in their swimming pool, and so they would have to go fish them out. That tree grew fruit because it had roots and connected to a source of life. With God as our Father, we have a source of life, and it clearly says that apart from Him, we can do nothing. We must remain in God to be fruitful. I think sometimes we get caught up in doing things for God that we forget to be with God. We can look really good doing the right things and saying the right things and still be disconnected from our life source. And I get it because it goes against our entire culture to rest and to let God work. And that, when we do that, we are claiming, I am not the fruit bearer. God, you are the one bearing fruit. I've asked a few of our friends to share how they find rest in God.
There's a mulberry tree about 1/3 of a mile from my house. At the end of spring, it's always covered with berries. There's a rise next to it that makes it easy to reach the top branches. I've always seen it as God's gift to our neighbor. I find a calm there that I don't find many other places.
Like Asher, I find it easiest to rest in God in nature. Being immersed in the beauty of His creations calms me and gives me clarity.
How I rest in God is by going outside and just soaking in His creation and seeing all His glory and seeing what He has made.
Rest, abide, dwell. It looks different for everyone. Maybe you need to go on a walk without your phone. Maybe you need to spend some time in the Bible reading about the promises God makes us and hearing of His comfort. Maybe you need to spend some time in complete silence. I don't know what that looks like for you, but I do know that resting in God will change you. It will change your mood, it'll change your attitude, it may even change your words and your actions. Let's spend some time leaning into rest with God. Because when we do that, it becomes impossible not to bear His fruit. It's good news that the fruit doesn't come from us. It's good news that God works in us and through us when we are at rest. We don't have to prove anything or earn anything. We can just be and rest. To remain in Him, if we do that, we will be fruitful. I don't want to be a Christmas tree because every year in January, we take the Christmas tree down. Ours is fake, but if you don't have a fake one, then you throw it away. I don't want that. I want to be a fruit tree that bears fruit in God. That fruit tree is still in my friend's backyard bearing fruit. It's faithful and it's consistent and it's steady because it is given life. Let's talk about how we become fruit trees and not Christmas trees. And let's talk about, if you were a fruit tree, what kind of fruit tree would you be? I personally don't know why, but I think I would want to be an avocado tree. So let's talk about that more this week.